Hello and welcome to Helpful Think. Today we will be taking a deep dive into unmasking the truth behind the murders attributed to a killer infamously known as Jack the Ripper. In the dimly lit alleyways of Victorian London, a chilling spectre haunted the gaslit streets, leaving a trail of gruesome murders that would echo through history. The figure that came to be known as Jack the Ripper remains one of the most enigmatic and feared serial killers in the annals of crime. But to truly understand the terror and intrigue that shrouded this elusive predator, one must delve not only into the horrifying details of the murders, but also into the complex political climate that defined London during the late 19th century. The late 1800s were a time of immense change and contrast in the British capital. London, the heart of the vast British Empire, was a city of unparalleled opulence and wealth, where the grandeur of Buckingham Palace stood in stark contrast to the squalor of its teeming slums. It was a city marked by extreme social inequality, a place where the privileged few lived lives of luxury, while a vast underclass struggled to survive in abject poverty. The upper class lived lives of luxury, with elegant townhouses in the affluent districts, while the lower class endured squalid and overcrowded conditions in the city's teeming slums. This divide was not merely economic. It was also deeply cultural, with strict codes of conduct governing interactions between classes. The upper class pursued leisure, while the lower class toiled in factories, workshops, and service roles. This social hierarchy created palpable tension and resentment among the working class population. This socio-economic chasm was a breeding ground for unrest and social discontent. The political climate of the era was charged with the fervor of various movements advocating for social reform and workers' rights. As the Industrial Revolution transformed the cityscape and the lives of its inhabitants, London became a crucible of urbanization, crime, and social upheaval. Against this backdrop of societal tension and the ever-present threat of poverty, the emergence of Jack the Ripper sent shockwaves through London's East End. These murders, as we will soon explore in greater detail, not only showcase the brutal savagery of a serial killer, but also expose the glaring disparities and inadequacies of the city's institutions and its criminal justice system. The reign of terror initiated by Jack the Ripper commenced on the chilling night of August 31st, 1888, with the brutal murder of Marion Nichols. Nichols, a destitute and middle-aged woman, was discovered lifeless in the pre-dawn hours on the streets of Whitechapel, one of London's most impoverished and crime-ridden neighbourhoods. Her throat had been slashed and her abdomen savagely mutilated. This gruesome murder was a harbinger of the horrors that were to follow. In the weeks that ensued, a wave of terror swept through Whitechapel as the Ripper continued his reign of terror, seemingly with impunity. On September 8, 1888, Annie Chapman met a similarly gruesome fate, her body discovered in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street. Like Nichols, her throat was cut and her abdomen subjected to horrifying mutilations. The pace of the killings quickened. Within hours of Chapman's murder on the same day, the Ripper struck again. Elizabeth Stride, found on Berner Street, exhibited the same gruesome pattern of injuries, a slit throat and abdominal mutilations. However, this time, it appeared that the Ripper had been interrupted before completing his horrific work, leading to speculation about a potential eyewitness. Catherine Eddowes, another unfortunate victim, met her end in the early morning hours of September 30, 1888. Her body, discovered in Mitre Square, bore the trademark brutality of the Ripper's handiwork. Her throat was severed and her abdomen laid open in a gruesome manner. The final, and perhaps most horrifying, murder attributed to Jack the Ripper was that of Mary Jane Kelly on November 9, 1888. Kelly's body, discovered in her squalid room at 13 Miller's Court, was subjected to unimaginable violence. The Ripper had escalated his brutality to a terrifying climax, rendering Kelly's corpse almost unrecognizable. These victims, Marion Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly, formed the core of the Ripper's known victims, their murders marked by gruesome mutilations and the apparent precision of a methodical killer. Their deaths not only plunged Whitechapel into a state of terror, but also baffled investigators, sparking one of history's most enduring mysteries. The pattern of these murders, their frequency, and the sheer brutality with which they were carried out would come to define the legend of Jack the Ripper, haunting London and the world for generations to come. The investigation into the Ripper murders, led primarily by the Metropolitan Police, unfolded against a backdrop of mounting public fear and outrage. The response of the police was, at times, marked by both determination and frustration. Detectives and officers, including Inspector Frederick Abeline, were dispatched to the crime scenes in Whitechapel, and investigative techniques of the era were put to the test. However, the Ripper's ability to strike with apparent impunity led to mounting pressure on the police force. The investigation faced several significant challenges. The district of Whitechapel was a labyrinthine maze of narrow, dimly lit alleyways and densely populated slums. The killer's ability to vanish into the labyrinthine streets made apprehension exceedingly difficult. Moreover, forensic science was in its infancy during this period, limiting the tools available to investigators. As the murders continued, public frustration grew and the pressure on the police intensified. The media played a significant role in both reporting the crimes and sensationalizing them, further fueling public panic and calling into question the competence of law enforcement. Despite diligent efforts and a massive manhunt, the police failed to apprehend the elusive killer. The murders, often occurring within a short span, bore hallmarks of meticulous planning and execution, leaving investigators baffled. While numerous suspects were identified and questioned, including individuals such as Montague, John Druitt, and Aaron Kosminski, the lack of concrete evidence and the mysterious nature of the crimes rendered the investigation largely inconclusive. Amid the gruesome and unsolved murders attributed to Jack the Ripper, another perplexing aspect of this chilling tale was the series of letters and postcards purportedly sent by the killer to the media and police. These communications, laden with macabre details and cryptic messages, added an eerie layer of intrigue to the already terrifying narrative of the Whitechapel murders. The first of these notorious letters, known as the Dear Boss letter, arrived at the offices of the Central News Agency on September 27, 1888. Addressed to the boss, the letter contained a taunting message suggesting the writer's responsibility for the recent murders and signing off with the infamous phrase, "Yours truly, Jack the Ripper." This letter, perhaps more than any other, cemented the name Jack the Ripper in the public consciousness and ignited a media frenzy. Subsequent letters, such as the Saucy Jackie postcard and the From Hell letter, further fueled speculation and terror. The From Hell letter, in particular, contained a grisly twist. It arrived with a small box containing a preserved human kidney, purportedly from one of the Ripper's victims. While the authenticity of these letters has been debated over the years, their impact on public perception and fear cannot be denied. The letters attributed to Jack the Ripper not only added an element of psychological torment to the crimes, but also raised questions about the killer's motivations. Were these communications the work of the true murderer, seeking notoriety and taunting the authorities, or were they the creations of hoaxers and attention seekers capitalizing on the climate of fear? Regardless of their origins, these letters served to further stoke the flames of fear and fascination surrounding the Ripper case. They became emblematic of the atmosphere of terror and mystery that shrouded Victorian London during the reign of this elusive and malevolent serial killer. The identity of Jack the Ripper has remained one of the most enduring mysteries in the annals of crime, with a myriad of suspects and theories woven into the fabric of this enigmatic case. Over the years, numerous individuals have been scrutinized as potential culprits, and a range of theories has emerged to explain the identity of the killer. One of the earliest suspects was Montague John Druitt, a barrister who, plagued by personal troubles, committed suicide shortly after the last Ripper murder. Druitt's suicide and the timing of his death led some investigators to consider him a prime suspect, although the lack of concrete evidence connecting him to the crimes remains a significant challenge. Another notable suspect was Aaron Kosminski, a Polish Jewish immigrant who suffered from mental illness and was committed to an asylum. Some contemporary police officers believed Kosminski might be the Ripper due to his erratic behavior and the fact that he was known to wander the Whitechapel area. A DNA analysis done in the year 2014 on a shawl purportedly belonging to one of the Ripper's victims suggested a possible link to Kosminski, reigniting interest in his candidacy as the killer. DNA evidence, of course, was not available for many years following the Whitechapel murders, and the evidence is relatively damning, with many strongly believing that Aaron Kosminski is Jack the Ripper. But still to this day, some do not believe that he is the culprit. Additionally, theories about the identity of Jack the Ripper have encompassed a wide range of individuals, from Freemasons and doctors to artists and even members of the royal family. These speculative theories often rely on conjecture, circumstantial evidence, or imaginative narratives, making it challenging to definitively identify the Ripper. One overarching theory suggests that the Ripper may have been a skilled surgeon or medical practitioner due to the precise nature of the mutilations inflicted on the victims. This theory raises the unsettling possibility that the killer possessed anatomical knowledge, lending a degree of medical expertise to the crimes. Despite the multitude of suspects and theories, the true identity of Jack the Ripper continues to elude historians, criminologists, and amateur sleuths alike. The Ripper's crimes remain an unsolved puzzle, a dark enigma from Victorian London that continues to captivate the imagination and fuel debates about the identity and motives of this elusive serial killer. As abruptly as the reign of terror initiated by Jack the Ripper had begun, it came to a chilling halt, leaving behind an enduring legacy that would echo through the annals of crime history. The mysterious figure who had terrorized the streets of Whitechapel with a string of gruesome murders seemingly vanished without a trace, marking a stark contrast to the relentless pace of his earlier killings. The abrupt cessation of the Ripper murders remains one of the most perplexing aspects of the case. After the horrifying murder of Mary Jane Kelly on November 9, 1888, the Ripper seemed to disappear into the shadows, leaving law enforcement and the public with an unsettling silence that contrasted sharply with the terror that had gripped Victorian London. Theories abound regarding the reasons for this sudden cessation. Some speculate that the Ripper may have died, been incarcerated for an unrelated crime, or left London altogether. Others suggest that he may have decided to stop of his own accord, perhaps due to fear of capture or for reasons known only to him. Jack the Ripper's dark legacy extends far beyond the cobblestone alleys of Whitechapel. It has left an indelible mark on the world of criminal investigation, inspiring the development of profiling techniques and forensic science. The very name Jack the Ripper has become synonymous with unsolved mysteries, serial killers, and the shadowy underbelly of history. Yet, amidst the plethora of theories and suspects, one aspect remains clear: the true identity of Jack the Ripper eludes us. The Ripper's ability to vanish into obscurity has become part of his mystique, a testament to the enduring power of mystery and fear. As we reflect on this haunting chapter in history, we are reminded that the echoes of Jack the Ripper's reign of terror continue to reverberate, inviting us to delve deeper into the abyss of the past in search of answers that may forever remain just beyond our grasp. The enigma of Jack the Ripper endures, an eternal reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the most unexpected corners of human existence. That concludes today's video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed. Please consider liking this video, commenting, and subscribing to our channel, as it helps us bring you more great content to enjoy. Cheers, mate!